Comanche by Valerie Bodden. Southern Plains people. The Comanche lived on the southern Great Plains. They called themselves Nermurna. This meant our people. The name Comanche probably came from the Ute Indians. It meant anyone who wants to fight me all the time. As the Comanche moved, they often pushed other peoples out of their homelands. The Comanche lived in small groups for most of the year. These groups were called bands. Each band was led by a head chief. The men in each Comanche band formed a council or group that advised the chief. Comanche life. The Comanche lived in teepees. Teepees were made of wooden poles. The poles were covered with bison skins. The Comanche had many horses. They moved often to find new pastures for the horses. A teepee could be set up in about 15 minutes and taken down in even less time. Comanche men hunted bison from horseback. They also hunted elk, bears, and deer. The men stole horses. They fought in wars, too. The Comanche got horses for hunting animals such as elk by both trading and raiding. Comanche women gathered wild plants. They cooked meals and made clothing. They worked together to set up or take down teepees. Grandparents helped care for children. Until about 10 months of age, Comanche babies were strapped into cradle boards to be carried. Comanche ceremonies. The Comanche believed spirits were found in nature. Young men went on vision quests. They climbed hills and prayed. They hoped a spirit would give them power. Vision quests took seekers away from their camp and family for about 4 days at a time. Spaniards, slaves, and reservations. Spanish settlers already lived on the southern Great Plains when the Comanche arrived. The Comanche stole horses from the settlers. Sometimes they took people to sell as slaves. In addition to raiding, the Comanche also traded with the Spanish settlers and other tribes. In the 1870s, the government forced the Comanche off their land. Some fought back, but eventually they moved to reservations. The Comanche were forced to farm instead of hunt. They were not allowed to speak their language. Comanche were moved farther south to reservations set up in Texas and Oklahoma. Being Comanche. Today, Comanche people still live on the southern Great Plains. Some are learning the Comanche language. They keep traditions alive. Today, Comanche and other Plains tribes join together for traditional dances and ceremonies. A Comanche story. The Comanche told stories to explain nature. One story told how it had not rained in a long time. A spirit told the Comanche to sacrifice their most important thing to make it rain again. No one wanted to sacrifice anything, but a little girl offered her doll. She burned the doll. Then she spread its ashes. Flowers called bluebonnets grew where the ashes landed, and it rained at last.